Welcome to DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. The inspiring podcast of DVC alum and student for Diablo Valley College. And now, on with the show.
Okay. And we are live here at DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. And I actually have Proud, which we're going to have to talk about that. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Proud. I am from Thailand, and I'm currently here at DVC.
Great. So, a lot of the people here at DVC, a lot of the students are not from Thailand. So talk a little bit about like growing up there and what it was like going to school and things like that.
So I'll be completely honest. Growing up in Thailand is really different from the States. I lived in Bangkok, so capital city girl through and through. I think it was really different in a sense where, like, schooling, I studied in international school, but I also studied in public school before when I was a lot younger. And I would say that the education system, if we were talking public in Thailand, was a lot less, I think it's less, advanced, and I think definitely less well-resourced as California or the US in general. I do really appreciate being in community college in California because I feel like California is one of those cities with a good funding to education and a really supportive program. But aside from that, I'm from Thailand, so I do eat good. Life is pretty nice. But yeah, I would say my high school journey was like a whirlwind of things. And I think it was really unexpected. I got to end up here in DVC.
Okay. So you're going through high school, and as you're growing up, were you looking to come to the U.S. or what were you looking? I mean, how did that journey occur? Was it because it didn't just magically drop out of the air?
Oh, funnily, I think growing up, I've always knew that I wanted to do business. I was going to do my own business. And that was the only thing I was sure of. I've never been exactly super sure where I wanted to go. The US was definitely a consideration, but I was never really set on a single place or a single school. There were places, of course, I wanted here and there, but there was not a one be-all end-all school until I got here to DVC. But for a large part, I wanted to go to the US.
Okay. So was that always a dream to come to the US growing up?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What was it that attracted you here?
Well, I'll be honest, it just seemed like a really cool place. And when I was young, I also knew that a lot of at the time when you're younger, you just kind of look up where has the best schools, and then the US had a lot of really good schools. So hence why the US was a big consideration for me.
Okay, cool. So you go from Thailand to the United States. What was that application process like, and what were some of the things that went along with that?
Application process was really tough. And I don't even think it wasn't just the Common App, the essays, that made me stressed out. I think it was just the fact that the US was just an overwhelming place in general. And high school was a bit overwhelming on its own. And on top of that, I was just really stressed out with a lot of things personally. So at the time I was applying, I don't think I was in the best state of mind, and I was ready. And right after I applied, when uni decisions came out, I think I was even more stressed and overwhelmed with a lot of things.
Okay. So you get, and I know I've talked to a lot of international students, and it's that process of now you've been accepted, you got to get your passport squared away, you've got to get your travel documents squared away, you've got a ton of stuff, and then you jump on a plane and you come here. What was that like getting off the plane?
I will be honest with you. Post coming to DVC, I was out of it. So I had exams. I was going through I had a surgery right before I came to DVC.
Oh my gosh.
Medical reasons that I prefer not to disclose.
That's fine. That's fine.
So I had a surgery, and at that time I was just really stressed, and I was recovering from surgery. And then I had to do visa, and I made up my mind to go to DVC a month before actually flying to DVC.
Okay.
So it's really short.
Well, it is. And it is. And again, I've talked to a number of students, and they say that time span, because it's kind of you got to get accepted in order to get all the travel documents you need. And then you got about 15 minutes or 15 days or something like that. No time at all to get all that squared away and get the ticket and get,
For me, visa was never the problem because I was, okay, one thing with me though is that I'm someone I'm pretty confident that if things are meant to happen, it will happen. And for some reason, I never had a doubt that I would be rejected on my visa. I was pretty sure that I followed all protocols and that I was a pretty solid citizen. So I don't think I would be rejected. But I was just really stressed because before I decided to commit to coming to DVC, I had another school that I initially paid the deposit for. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go here. But then post the medical complications and the many things in my life, I actually reflected about it. And I was like, I didn't even really like that school.
Mm-hmm. What school was it?
Oh, Indiana. IU Kelly.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a good school.
IU Kelly is an amazing school.
The only thing is out in Indiana, the weather isn't as good.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The only reason I didn't go there was because I'm not a big fan of Indiana.
Okay.
And I wasn't completely sold on the school, but I applied because my college counselor wanted me to apply there. She was like, I think you should just include some, I think this would be a good target for you. I think you could get in. So I ended up getting an offer. But I was like, I don't think this is what I really wanted with my life. And I wanted more flexibility to maybe think about my degree a little bit as well. So I was like, okay, bye-bye, Indiana. So I was like, what's the next best option?
Yeah.
And I guess we ended up here.
Yeah. Well, and truth be told, DVC is a wonderful choice. A lot of it is based on, you do get a lot of flexibility, and we have an incredibly high transfer rate to the UCs. In Indiana, the weather's not as good, but the basketball's better. So you're not much of a sports fan, I take it.
I do like sports.
Oh.
I do watch it every now and then, but the biggest sport that I like is boxing or UFC.
Okay.
I don't think being in Indiana gives me a UFC edge.
Yeah.
For me, it was mainly I'm a person of kind of instincts a lot, so I felt if instinctively I didn't feel I wanted to go there, then I'm gonna have to trust my gut feeling.
Yeah. Well, and you're already kind of demonstrating something that I feel very strongly about it. I'm way at the other end of my career than you are. And none of it has been linear. It's always been little fits and starts and, make a left turn here. And I tell people all the time, it's I'm on my 5th or 6th career at this point. So again, you made that. And that was that's a very mature thing.
7 times is a charm.
Yeah. Well, we'll go with that. So you get here to DVC. You walk off the plane. You're wiped out. You're recovering from surgery still, because I think that was because it takes a long time even if it's a minor thing, it just takes a while. And so you're doing all that. You get off the plane, and here you are. Now, did you have any kind of a command of English at all, or were you? How was your English?
Okay, that's one thing I'll not really credit the US for, because I think even before coming to America, I was very lucky and privileged enough to be given a really good US education. So I was always just basically this fluent in English. And I'm someone who really likes reading, talking, and just communicating. So I think my command of English has been pretty much at this level. I would say I'm close to native level when it comes to English. Well,
if you learned proper English, your command is probably better. But that's all because those of us that are immersed in it, it's decades ago, I worked with a guy who was from Germany, and he had learned English at Oxford, right? So he knew English or British English, and he had an ever so slight accent. But the thing was, he found me, the West Coast guy, to be very confusing to talk to sometimes because, we had idioms and just slang and things like that. And this was back in the 70s. So
I have noticed that as well. I've noticed that a lot of Americans, and I think it's similar to me because I'm Thai, but I also sometimes struggle with my own language. But I think Thai is way harder than English.
Oh, okay.
Because there's Thai formal language, Thai normal language, and then there's Thai language used for royalties and monk. There's a lot of levels to the language.
Wow. Okay. English is not that way.
I'm trilingual, so I speak English, Chinese, and Thai. And I would say the hardest is probably Thai, tied with Chinese. I think Thai intuitively is harder than Chinese.
Really?
But it's harder for me to learn Chinese because I grew up with Thai language and Thai-speaking people.
Yeah.
But Chinese is also pretty hard because there's the written dialect and then there's the pinyin, which is the English like character. That's like the basically like voice of the Chinese dialect. And then there's like simplified Chinese and traditional Chinese. Well, as opposed to English, there is complications to that because it derives from Latin. But there's still like, it's still like the average like American English, I feel like is pretty straightforward. And I feel like American people are also pretty forgiving with English, as so are other languages. But like English, I feel like if you're not a good speaker, it's harder to misunderstand. Because, for example, English words, they don't really have like a lot of dialect to them. Like Thai words, for example, they're like ka, cow. These are all different words, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
But you know, like how to like foreigners, I feel like you might think they're all like basically like almost the same.
Well, yeah, for me, it would be they're all the same. And yet for you, that's 3 different words. And yeah, so I'll give you that. And since I speak only one language, and even that I struggle with sometimes. So you get...
It's hard.
Yeah. So you get here, you got a pretty good command of English. So you have that going for you.
I had that going for me.
Yeah.
I had pretty good hair, and that was pretty much all I had coming into DVC.
Yeah. So you get here, you get yourself enrolled. What were your first classes and what was your impression of them?
My first classes were English, obviously, and then I had statistics, and then I had accounting, and then counseling, and a gym class. See, I met with the counselors before picking classes, and they convinced me. There was this counseling class by Mr. Matt Monday, if any of you guys know him. Great counselor. You know, his hair maybe not as nice as mine, but he's a great guy, and he's super helpful. So he recommended I join his class it's called Counseling for International Students. And I was like, okay, you know what? I do have a lot of semesters left. Why not give it a shot? This ended up being actually one of the hardest class.
Really?
Because Mr. Matt Monday does this thing where he has a quiz the first 5 minutes of class. And class starts at 9:30. And if you come later than 5 minutes, you would just not get the quiz. And then we would have the finals at the end of the semester, which is basically a compilation of all the questions on the quiz. And each week we get 5 quizzes each. And all my other classes were pretty much like you could miss a class or 2 and the teacher wouldn't really mind. But counseling is like, you should think twice before you missed it. So the class that I had perfect attendance in was counseling, with the exception of 1 absence, which was for like schoolwork, like going on a school activity. So yeah.
Okay. I mean, you're talking about you're taking statistics, and it's like, it's for some of us who are, you know, that would be a struggle class. So you get through now. So tell us about the first year. What clubs and societies did you get involved with?
I actually think I got involved with a decent amount of clubs and society on campus. So my strategy was that I wasn't going to spread myself too thin. So I decided that first semester I would figure out which clubs I actually liked. And by maybe like the 3rd weekend or like the 3rd meeting of a certain club, if I didn't like it, I would just drop it. So I went to a bunch of clubs. And my classes weren't that hard last semester. So I was perfectly pretty much like...
All right. So wait, let's back up a little bit. So what classes were you taking last semester?
Stats, English, accounting, gym, and
the counseling. Yeah.
See, I always try to tell myself that it's not that hard. Okay. Because if I tell myself it's hard, then I kind of lose motivation. To be fair, they were a little hard, but I think they were still doable. But yeah, so I...
Okay, I'm sorry. It's like, okay, well, I was taking stats and this and that. It's like, okay, so...
Like, this is not to say that I don't try. I do try very...
No, I know. I'm not saying you were phoning it in, but, okay, so what clubs did you finally settle on that were like your clubs?
My clubs? So I did Pi Beta Lambda, PBL, which is a business conference club. I really liked that club. I also do this other club, which is called Econ Club. So basically just economic stuff. I did student government. Okay, now moving all the academic clubs aside, I also went to Cheese Club for a couple of meetings. I was very fascinated to know that they had Cheese Club. And I went to Photography Club for a couple of meetings. And I think those were the more fun clubs on campus.
Okay, cool. So I know one of the things, and it kind of fell apart this year, but one of the things you got involved with was the TEDx, and we're looking to do that next semester for fall. Yes. So that's one of the things. So talk about how you got involved with that.
Okay. How I got involved with TEDx is there's this woman in my, basically, she came to our orientation because she was one of the people who were tabling and introducing clubs. And her name was Anahita, and she was the person in charge of TEDx that year. And and then another guy, Alex, who was also the international student representative, he talked about his experience, and he was like, and then he shouted out this other guy, Mohammed, and then Mohammed talked about how TEDx was a really big part of his journey. And then he pointed to Anahita, who was in the corner, and was like, if anyone wants to get involved, talk to Anahita. And so I did. I walked straight up to Anahita and was like, hi, I heard you're involved with TEDx. Are you graduating soon? Is there any way I could get involved? So she was like, yeah, we're actually looking for a successor. Perfect. Let me interview you real quick. So she pulls up this other guy. His name's Flores. Mm-hmm. Flores comes in and he's like, they start interviewing me a bunch of questions. So I was like, okay, I guess no hello, no goodbye. I guess we're doing this, huh? So I talked to them. They were like, okay, you know what? We're happy to take you on, and we'll pass the torch to you next year after we host this TEDx. And for this year, you'll kind of be our understudy.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And then circumstances dictated that it didn't happen this year, so we're spinning it up for fall. So folks, keep an eye out for TEDx as it comes up. So one of the things, since this is our 100th episode, and 100, yay! What would be some of the things that, what would be a piece of advice that you would give yourself? I'd say your younger self, but you're awfully young to start with. So it's just,
I am awfully young. That's true.
So what would be something you would tell your younger self as kind of navigating this whole thing?
So hi to every young person who may potentially be younger than me, the same age as me, or just anyone watching this podcast. I think my best advice is that do it scared, do it confused, do it even if you feel like you're the most unqualified person to do it. If you want to do something, go for it. The worst you could do is be horrible at it. And that's still fine, because at least you still get to do it. And then you get to maybe you try something else. But I think the biggest thing that generally stops people in life is that you don't go after what you want, and you go after something that you don't want in fear of being rejected by what you want. And even I have to tell myself this multiple times, because there are so many times when I would psych myself out of something that I really wanted to do, something that I think was really meaningful for me, simply because of various reasons, or I didn't believe myself to be the most competent person for whatever that thing was. But one thing about me is I know that if I want something enough, I will do it regardless of whether I feel like I'm ready for it. Because as much as I believe in perfect timing and everything, sometimes I don't think most of us perfectly know ourselves and how ready we are until we jump into it. So I think I've watched so many people settle with things they don't want because they're too scared to go after what they want. So just do it. And whatever happens, you just kind of make it work.
Good advice. I think that, for perfect timing, now is always the perfect time. So what do you see as your future path? I mean, we got TEDx coming up. You've got at least 2 more semesters, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And magic wand, we're on to 2027. You're graduating from DVC. Where do you look to go beyond that?
Where do I look to? Okay, so beyond DVC, hopefully I'll get into my dream school. So hopefully I'll be somewhere in the East Coast.
Oh, do you have a specific dream school out there?
Yes, I do, but I'm going to keep my lips sealed.
Okay.
But I promise you that I will come back in this office in a year, and you'll see me in a very nice hoodie that just says... Yep.
Dream school.
Dream school.
Okay. That will go with that. Now you go to your dream school, you graduate, you go off and get your MBA or whatever you're doing. And what does after that look like? Have you settled on what kind of business you're going to start or what you're going to do?
I think I'm leaving life after, university a bit more open-ended because I feel like as long as I'm able to, I don't try to set like exactly how I see my life, but I think it's more like things that are non-negotiable for me is I definitely want to be able to achieve like a quality of life that I'm happy. I want to be like definitely someone who's like as happy as enjoying life as I am now. And also I want to be able to like work with other people. So maybe like I have not truly bought this out, but maybe for a year or for like half a year for like during my break, I want to go like kind of volunteer and work in a nonprofit with like helping like kind of like maybe foster youth or like really young children teach English or maybe like just help them communicate better. Because for me, a large part of advocating for myself is me learning to speak better and trying to communicate my needs and my like
that sounds like
advocate for myself, basically.
And that sounds very noble. So let's backtrack slightly, and then we'll wrap up. So your name is Proud.
My name is Proud.
And tell me about that. How did you end up with that? Because that's usually something like Americans do. So,
my name is way more basic than you would expect it to be. Is the rationale behind that was just my parents were very proud.
Oh wow! Okay.
They were like, we're just so happy to have you and we'll always be proud of you. Therefore, your name is Proud.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming in. We look forward to it. I'm sure you're going to be doing PBL also in the fall, right? Yes. So we'll look for fun stuff with that. And then you're headed off in the summer with Chris Lane to go to D.C., Washington, D.C. Is that where it's at?
Oh, no. I already went to Washington, D.C. earlier to advocate for healthcare, community college students.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer in healthcare, and I probably mentioned I had surgery right before I did the DVC. So, and I'm also someone who gets sick every now and then. So I think it's really important that people are in good health for them to be able to perform their best. And I think healthcare facilities are super important. So that's part of my initiative and what I was involved with in fall. And that was also why what I did before coming to this interview earlier, by the way, I went to the ER to get documents because I was sick.
Yeah. So, but you're supposed to go and compete
in Vegas.
Oh, it's Vegas. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought it was DC. Yeah. The future
Business Leaders of America Society. I'll be competing in marketing and hopefully we'll back first. And Chris Lane, another guy who's in that room over there, is also going to be competing, and he'll be competing in, I think, finance. Super cool guy. Yeah.
Cool.
And a bunch of other cool people will be competing.
Cool. Well, excellent. Well, I'm very excited about that. Well, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. And we'll look forward to many great things from you.
Thank you.
All right. Yay.
Hopefully I can see you guys here.
Oh, absolutely.
Tuning in to DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. The podcast for the DVC Alumni Association. You can contact us at alumni@dvc.edu with any comments, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe to our podcast.